The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. What's going on, guys? Eric Sablon here with Burnt Phone Marketing Radio, and I have a treat. A couple years ago when I started this, I wanted to highlight some Alaskan talent. I wanted to highlight some people that were in Alaska and doing the things that Alaskans do. And when I first started, I got a lot of really good interviews. And then I went out and did a lot of marketers. And this last month, I really wanted to highlight a couple of my really close friends and really close coworkers and people that I've worked with, people that I respect for a long time. And I call it the Alaskan Highlight Series because the guy that I'm going to talk to today has been in the sales game since he was, since he was like 16 years old. He was running sales. We actually were competitors in the same niche, but in different stores. And we grew up together. We were best friends. Like it's amazing that I never had him on this show. But a couple years ago, he got a nomination for a salesperson of the year. And that's like a big thing because it's in the whole industry. The company that he's with has won Retailer of the Year a couple times in his industry, in his niche. And his company's got a ton of accolades, but the guy is just like a stellar individual. He's probably one of the best salespeople I've ever met before. He's like one of those guys that if he puts in mind to something, it's game over for him. Like I used to work out with him and he just would crush, like literally he would crush like all the workouts. So like once he puts his mind to something, he gets what he's doing. So he was the the salesperson of the year, voted throughout the nation in his niche. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, how Accolades do things for you and get you set up. But please welcome, my good friend. I mean, he's like a brother from another mother. He's the guy that like I grew up with. We've got so many like times that we've been together, been places together, and it's just amazing to have him on the show. But he's a father. He's a father, a hard worker. Does awesome with his relationships. He's just a really good friend. And he's one of those guys that, have you ever had that friend that like, literally if he's cold, but he has his coat, he would take off his coat to keep you warm? That's the kind of people that, I like to hang out with. And that's the kind of person he is. So please welcome Mr. Rob Kowatch to the show. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you having me on. It's an honor. And I only gave you my coat because I got a little bit extra body fat, so I'm straight. So no, man, but seriously, it's awesome to finally be on. I've seen other people that I respect on your show, and obviously I respect the hell out of you. And yeah, it's pretty crazy how we come full circle from being direct competitors to growing up and being best friends and your best man. And now we are both excelling at what we do. It's really awesome to see. So thank you for having me.
It is. It's one of those things where you don't see life when you're like you're in that bottle, but once you start to step out and kind of look at outside the frame, it's amazing how things happen and you start to grow. But first off, I just want to ask, a little bit about your backstory. Like, I talked a little bit about what you've been in the industry for a long time. Just give me a little bit of your backstory on just for the audience on what you've done and, the kind of sales that you've done and what industry you're in.
Yeah. So my name's Rob Kowatch. I am the sales manager at Perfectionist Auto Sound and Security here in Anchorage, Alaska. We are the premier auto accessorizing shop here. We specialize remote starts, car audio, anything in terms of rims and tires, anything you can do to your vehicle to kind of make it your own. We try to go above and beyond. We customize in a lot of different aspects of that. And like Eric said, we have won Retailer of the Year 2 times in our industry, and that is a North America award. So we don't take that lightly. We strive for our name every single day. But yeah, I've been doing sales, like you said, since I was about 16, 17. Kind of my background is I was really into cars. I really love music. I really love good sounding music. And so at first I was a consumer, just loved it. Loved listening to really high-end sound systems. And that's kind of where I met you. Like I said, we were competitors for many years. But it was never like that. You know, like when I say competitors, it was always mutual respect and seeing how you ran your store. And I always wanted to emulate that where I was. So big kudos to you, brother. So I always looked up to you in that. So yeah, and then fast forward, you know, I've been in this industry most of my life. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't done other sales. I've done outside sales. I've done hot tub sales. I've done gym membership sales. I've done a lot of different sales, which, you know, every spot I've learned a little bit from here and there on how to interact with people and like build relationships, because that's really what sales is all about, is building the relationships and building your pipeline of customers that always come back to you and want to do business with you. So again, yeah, I've been doing this, oh man, since '98. So and I still love it. I still love it every single day. It's one of those jobs where it's like, you know, at least, you know, my kids can go, oh yeah, my dad does this, and it's still a cool thing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've been in the industry for a long time. There's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of things that's happened in that industry. And, you know, just so you guys are clear, like it's the car audio industry and car accessory industry. So there's been a lot of changes in that industry. What, you know, we talk about sales, and this is a sales and marketing and, you know, podcast. What do you think, like the number one, like, because there's so many different levels of sales, like you talked about, you've been in different things like B2B, B2C, and that's business to business, or, you know, business to B2C, which is to the consumer. What's the biggest misconception that you see, not only in your industry, but in the overall sales industry? What's the biggest misconception you see?
Well, you know, it stems from my biggest misconception of my career. My career, honestly, I felt like I was always good with talking with people. I could read people. You know, it goes back to our poker playing days. But realistically, that only gets you so far. The biggest misconception really is, you know, asking yourself, are you really being a professional at what you do? And that doesn't mean, no matter if you're in sales or if you do some other industry, are you a true professional? Are you doing all the little details? Are you grinding every single day to optimize every single day? So really ask yourself, and you know, when I do trainings or when I teach new employees, I ask myself, are you being a clerk or are you being a professional? Are you being someone who just rings people out? Or you're actually going after and creating the business? You know, as being Retail of the Year here 2 times, it's a big responsibility to be the store manager here for me. You know, it took you know, the owner John Schwartz a long time to create the brand here, to create the community mindset that we are one of the top, if not the top, you know, store to come to. And continuing that excellence, I don't take that very lightly. And so really, it's just, again, the misconception is some people think they can turn it on and turn it off, and it's not really that kind of thing for me. I think being a professional, you're always on, whether you're on the clock or not, whether you're outside of the store, you're always on. You always got to be cultivating business. You can't just rest on your laurels of, of past success. You really have to continue to work at it every single day. So we take pride in, well, I definitely take pride in the small details of trying to capture that. So I guess the biggest misconception is, for me, is just, going after the business and creating more business for the company that you work for and yourself, and not just waiting for people to come in to the store kind of thing. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. The misconception is like, you know, clerk or professional. Like in any business, you have the people that, you know, I like to call them amateurs. So you'll have people that are the amateurs that have fun on the weekends. They kind of play whatever they're doing on the weekends, or, you know, whatever. And then you have the professionals, the ones that get paid. So a lot of times you just need to ask yourself, you know, am I an amateur or am I a professional in my field, in what I'm doing? And that
Exactly.
standard is huge.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, like when I'm doing trainings, is like you're responsible for your career,
Mhm.
nobody else. You're responsible for how much you get paid, nobody else. So you can't depend on anybody else. You have to actually go out and get it and prove your worth every single day. There's no days where you can take off and be like, you know. So that's a big mindset thing, I think, for true professionals in sales to overcome. It's a reset. Even from customer to customer, it's a reset. Everyone's different. Nobody cares if you're having a bad day. Nobody cares if the last customer you talked to was difficult. Nobody cares about that. So it's always a reset, every single day, every single customer, and creating the experience to where that you just wow them. So that's kind of my mindset every single day with every single customer, whether it's in person, email, on the phone, is just trying to create the best experience for them possible. So.
Well, you know, there's companies like, you know, Nordstrom's, they talk about the Nordstrom's way. They talk about, you know, wow. I always talk about how are you going to differentiate yourself from the sea of sameness? Because, you know, a long time ago, we both read this book called that Eddie did this training called Eddie K. And he said, all things being equal, they'll shop at the cheapest place. And
Absolutely.
that's a big deal.
Well, I also recently learned, like, all things being equal, the customer is going to want to do business with whoever they're comfortable with.
Mm.
So creating that experience of comfort has really been a high priority for me lately. So absolutely, though, you definitely have to differentiate yourself, and that comes with the attention to detail. That comes with follow up, follow through, and delivering exactly what you're saying, going above and beyond. So.
So a couple years ago, and I always talk about like training and reinvesting in yourself and you know doing things like, you know me, I'm if you guys don't know, I'm a event junkie. I go to all the events. Like I go to at least 3 to 5 events every single year. And a couple years ago, you invested in a course, and you were one of those guys that, I remember at the beginning of this, guys, when I said, when Rob puts his mind to something, he finishes it. He went through the whole Grant Cardone University training. How important and how important was that to the quick growth of your sales career? Like, because you'd already been there. And a lot of people that have already been there are like, I'm good. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't do this. When you went through that training and when you like sharpened your saw, how did you was there a change in your mindset, in your abilities, in your presentation, and the things that you do because you were sharpening your saw?
Yeah, absolutely. It flipped the switch internally in my mind, anyways, in terms of, like I said, I took for granted the ease of being able to talk to people. And so then when I started doing the training, it was like the aha moments of, things just adding up, like, okay, I know exactly what he's talking about. And yeah, it was awesome because, I ripped through that training because I'm the type that I crave more training anyways, just like you crave the events. And likewise, because I do want to be the best at what I do. I'm very competitive, that. So uh But yeah, it was definitely one of those things where I realized for my most of my career, I haven't been a professional. I took
Mhm.
things for granted. I wasn't, so Kobe Bryant is my favorite basketball player of all time. One of his quotes is like, you have to fall in love with the grind. And
Mhm.
I didn't know what he meant by that until, I started taking the Cardone University trainings where you got to do the things sometimes that are monotonous in terms of small details. But you got to love it, because at the end, it's those things and those consistencies that are really going to create the success that you crave at when you are being as competitive as I am. So yeah, absolutely. Not only did I learn, some techniques in terms of sales and closing, or dealing with uh, customers and their why they don't want to do things right. So but it was the biggest part was being realizing I wasn't a professional and that I needed to get it into gear and stop wasting time, because you can easily go through your career not reaching your potential if you don't realize that you know you're not doing it the right way. You just aren't. And that was the biggest learning lesson for me. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not investing enough into myself. I'm not doing enough training. I'm not reading enough books when all of that is readily available. And that was a switch. And since then, it's been guns blazing, man. So, and with it's crazy. Like, you set goals, and I had taken a break. I had taken a break from the industry for about a year, and I was thinking about moving. And but then I came back, and two of my main goals this year was, okay, I want to break this, even with all the success the store has had. I wanted to break their all-time sales record, and I wanted to win Sales Pro of the Year. And I put my mind to it. And not only did I grind every single day here in the store, outside the store, but I was part of the 12 volt community, and being a part of, reaching out, helping others in the industry that, have questions about, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with that objection? How do I, gain more customers in this field, And so it became specific laser pointed things that I wanted to accomplish, and then realizing and doing all the things that you need to do, and being a professional, actually achieving those was just fantastic. And part of my acceptance speech this year when I did win, and that was just amazing to me, was, usually I'm up there clapping for my daughters who are they are elite swimmers up here in Alaska. Scholarship going to be my oldest is in Concordia University swimming, and then my younger daughter from there is going to be D1 at New Mexico State in the fall. So usually I'm cheering for them, but it was really nice for them to actually see, like, uh, my hard work and why I'm away from them more as much as I am, come to fruition of actually being awarded. It was funny. After I had won the award, I looked over to John, the owner, and one of my other best friends. I said, "Wow, it's crazy to think I got voted #1 in the nation." And he looks at me. He goes, "No, bro, that's #1 in all of North America." And it's just like, not that I needed that on top of it, but it was just amazing. And even since then, it's just been amazing to get a lot of recognition and love throughout, all of the top stores and top sales professionals and installers, just congratulating me and even asking me questions on a daily. So it's been quite an honor for sure. So
Well, your hard work and grind paid off, and what I like to call that is, Tony I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins, and he talks about going from significance to contribution. And I always say that, significance is when you succeed, contribution is when you spill over your significance and help other people. And I know John is huge into contribution. He does a lot of things, and he's one of the guys that actually got me started on this whole like, do service to many leads to greatness. And it was a feeling that he gave me a long time ago when we did this thing for Beans Cafe,
Yep.
and we were going to hit this goal and we were going to hit this number. And he's like, whatever it is, we're going to hit the number that we shot out to. And, it was funny because same kind of thing, like he's so wise and his wisdom so amazing. He looked over at me and we're done. We get the picture taken and he goes, that feels crazy, doesn't it? And I'm like, dude, that feeling of giving back like that, the contribution feeling was just something that I strive for now. Like I really want to do that all the time. So, that's why I'm on coaching calls and stuff like that. But yeah, so you talked about the award, you talked about what it is, kind of. So you basically, in the North America, there's a mobile retailer, right? Mobile retailers like,
So it's Mobile Electronics Magazine.
okay.
They're basically our reference in terms of news of new product or stories that have to do with our industry. And they do an annual award show. So they do a couple shows throughout the U.S. It's called Knowledge Fest. Knowledge Fest is industry related trainings, as well as a actual show where all the manufacturers come to show off all their new products, their demo vehicles, try to sell you on carrying their products. And there's multiple in the country. So you have your Dallas show, you have your Orlando show, Indianapolis, a couple other ones. And then this year was the inaugural Vegas show, in which they do the industry awards. So amongst the awards, you have your top retailer. Again, like we've said, we've won that a couple times ourselves. You have your sales pro. You have your installer of the year, which is a big deal because those guys, those are the talent. Those are the guys that are creating unreal builds in any kind of crazy car you've ever seen, or those are the guys that are pushing the envelope on a daily. And so and then you have your reps of the year. So it's quite a bit. Basically there's it's a couple tier system. You have voting. So you have your consumer voting, which is half of it, and then you have your industry voting, and then the finals are actually judged based on your finals video, in which they ask you very specific questions. Yeah, it was I have been in 2018 I was top 20. In 2019 I was top 5, and then again I was out of the industry the year after. So coming back, it was, like I said, the goal to win, and we did. We brought it home, which was an amazing feeling. It was an amazing feeling. It was very funny because they were naming off all the finalists, and for a split second I'm like, I wonder if I don't win. And then right when I had that thought, I saw my name pop up, and it was pretty awesome. It was really awesome. So it's one of those, I wish everybody could experience something like that. And I don't take it for granted. That's part of winning, was, really wanting, like you said, mindset of giving back. So that's my goal for the rest of this year. This new year is to give back, be part of as many trainings as I can. Already in developments for doing sales training for those other shows that are in the lower 48. So we'll see what the rest of the year brings, but that's the goal, is to prove every single day why I did win that award, and just keep working on myself as well.
It's so funny because being in that industry for so long, because I was in the industry for, just over 12 years, and I aspired for that. It's the exact same thing. I I want to win, salesperson of the year, and it's just an amazing feat to see a guy that, put in the hard work, and, I left the industry, but you're still in the industry, and just, 20 years later, because I think it's about 20 years later, you come back
For
in
real.
and you win the award that is so coveted and so many people want it. Like our store that I was running, our main store won retail of the year in 2000 something, but John and the guys at Perfectionist have won it twice. Where can there's a lot of people on the podcast that and you want to give back. It might be a little outside of the box, but like a sales process is a sales process. Where can the audience kind of find you, either on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever? If you have like a training course or anything like that, where can the audience find you?
Yeah, so there's things on our own website, perfectionistautosound.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on most social media platforms. Again, content is king, I hear, so I'm working on that more and more. But yeah, other than that, like I said, reach out to me at rob@perfectionistautosound.com. Be more than happy to answer any questions. You're right. It's one thing I have learned throughout my years is the sales process is really, when you boil it down, it's all the same.
Mhm.
It's there's steps to it, and the more successful people follow those steps on a regular basis. Now, does that mean you can't tweak it to who you are? Absolutely not. But the guys that are the most successful, they kind of have the foundation of knowing all of the ins and outs of how to speak to people, how to greet them, simple things, how to bring that energy, how to qualify them. And, I think that's the biggest thing for me. I've learned a lot lately is qualifying just makes your life so much more efficient. It speeds up the process and you can control the conversation a lot better. And at the end of the day, we're just here to really answer whatever questions consumers have. That way they feel armed enough to make the right purchase. And then you just follow through and deliver that. And but yeah, I'm more than happy to help anybody, reach out to me on whatever platform. And it's funny for people to be asking me. You know me. Like I said, I was really honored to be asked to be on here, just because, let's. It's taken a little bit of time for me to accept, like, even winning the award and stuff like that. But there's a reason why I did win the award, and there is a reason why I'm extremely confident in what I do. But at the end of the day, it's because I put in the work.
Mhm.
So and knowing that, I'm excited for the future for sure. So
Well, what I'll do is I'll put a few of the links in the show notes, so that way people can reach out to you and find out who you are. Because a lot of times there's just that one place where you have that bottleneck where you're stuck. And if you just reach out to somebody that's done it before, you reach out to somebody that has accomplished what you're trying to do, you reach up and you leverage that out. And one of the things that I talked about in my course is, with what my success has happened, is I gave up equity for leverage. Like, I surrounded myself with two really good guys that they stay in their own lane, but I gave up equity for leverage. And then, like you said, on qualifying, literally our process, before you can actually get on a call with one of our sales guys, you have to watch 3 videos and have a 10-minute call with me, which I double check and make sure you're going to come through that process. So
yeah.
qualifying is a big deal, and I'm sure Rob will give you some tips and some questions and because that's what it is, some really, really good questions and communications to qualify your prospect, qualify your client, qualify your next member, or whatever you're
Yeah, and
selling.
it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't. Like you said, it's universal on so many different platforms. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I got 2 more questions that I'm going to talk to you about. So I've been reading a book by Tony Robbins, and he talks about, I'm going to grab this so I don't mess up the question. Hang on one second. I think I have it there. You know what? I'm gonna ad lib this question. So you've been in the industry for a long time. You're really good in sales. You're really good in staying the course and staying with something for a long period of time. If there's one trait, one business mindset, one thing that you could pass on to the kids, that's not money, just one trait, one mindset, one vision, one way of thinking, what would that look like?
Recently I read a book called Extreme Ownership, and it hit home because really, at the end of the day, like we were saying, you're responsible for everything in your life. You're responsible who you hang out with. You're responsible for your circle of people. That's why, me and you have been friends for so long. You literally, this time and age, it's so easy to pass blame on why things don't happen. And the reality is you have to be real with yourself. You have to look in the mirror, take the ownership of your life, of what's going right, what's not going quite right, and realize nobody's here to help you in terms of fixing that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be people along the path that are willing to help, but you have to be in a position in your life to accept it and realize, hey, these guys know a little bit more than me, and that's, we go back, and me and you always talk about, your circle of friends, and the 5 people you hang out with the most, or you talk to the most. And it's true. It's so true, because it changes your whole mindset. But yeah, realistically for me, it is just taking ownership of your life in every aspect. Own your behaviors, own your strengths, own your weaknesses, and just be able to work on those things that you feel aren't quite right. So,
well, you're doing that well, because you're teaching the girls. I mean, you have collegiate swimmers, you have like the state champions, and stuff like that, and you're teaching that. You're showing the mindset of the grind. And when I say grind, I say it in the nicest way. You know what I mean? You're showing the mindset of tenacity and consistency and congruence.
yeah.
People like to talk about the grind, but it's actually just tenacity, congruence, and consistency, which is really the grind.
Yeah, absolutely. Like again, it goes back to my Kobe Bryant analogy, in terms of like, he wouldn't have had it any other way, because at the end of the day, he loved to do it, and that's what made him, revered as one of the best basketball players to ever walk this earth. And you make a lot of sacrifices to be as good as he was, and let's be clear. You and I have, along the way, we've made our own sacrifices to be successful in what we do, and that's part of it. And I think that's what was so rewarding when I did win the award. Was, it was awesome that my family got to see, okay, this is why dad was working these long hours, and this has now come to the fruition of now you're rewarded for it. And so that was really cool for them to be there and to see that. So again, it was pretty awesome. So
that is cool. So the last question I have, I asked with all my guests, and I sunsetted it for a little bit, but I brought it back because it's such a great picture and a great question, and something that a lot of the audience would really like. So I want you to kind of picture this. It's Knowledge Fest, but it's the biggest Knowledge Fest. It's one of the biggest Knowledge Fests out there. It's like there's 200,000 people in a stadium, right? And you're the Sunday speaker, and you know exactly what that means. That's the reason why people came. So on the poster, there's it says Knowledge Fest, and then it's like a bunch of people that are here, but the main person is you. You're right in the middle, because you're the Sunday speaker. You're the reason why they came. Now, Sunday afternoon, you give your talk, you give your speak, you give your training. And there's 200,000 people inside the stadium. And they both stand up. They all stand up. You're done doing your presentation. They stand up, they turn around, they start walking to the door. they look up and they see your image where it says Knowledge Fest and you're the one that's in the middle of it. What's the one phrase you want 200,000 people to remember Rob Kowatch by?
Oh, wow. That's a great question, brother. That's a great question. You weren't lying when you said you were going to throw one at me. Okay. You know, it's no different than part of my acceptance speech was, especially for the field I'm in, was not taking the award for granted, not being in the position of, of being number one for granted, and utilizing that platform to give back in whatever way I can. My goal and part of my speech was, in a lot of industries, you have the right side, left side. Sometimes there's industry cliques, stuff like that, to where, it's just natural because there's natural competition. For me, what I wanted people to take away was that, I'm genuine, man. I say it how it is. I like to be able to listen and communicate with whoever. So really part of my speech was wanting to not only give back, but to unite, to unite the industry, where I saw a lot of divide that I just don't have time for. It's ugly to me, and it's unnecessary to me. So that would be my key in terms of what I want people to really like. Wow, that guy's genuine. He has the whole, like, because I do love this industry. It's fun. It's great. I still love coming to work every single day. I love the smiles I get from when you hit a home run with a customer and you deliver exactly what they're looking for. And just doing the small details like this. I want people to know, like, oh, well, Rob gets it, right? Rob gets, again, the fact that I'm not here to make a sale. I'm here to make lifelong relationships, because let's face it, I want customers for life. I want, when somebody walks into the store, I want them to ask for me, because they know that I'm gonna deliver above and beyond. And that's just really how I live day to day now. It's pretty funny to kind of give you a story. When I flew home from Vegas after I won, the first thing I did, honestly, every other winner that night, I hand wrote them congratulation cards from here, just expressing how much they amaze me, and how much they make this industry so much fun, and how much they inspire me, and they inspire my team, and they inspire everyone that was there that night, or that wasn't able to be there and watched it or read that about the awards. And it was so amazing, the kind of love that I got. And it was so amazing from just the love that I got from just doing thank you cards, because these guys would get them, a couple guys in Canada, a couple guys, here and there in the US. And they didn't have to, but they blasted it on social media about, hey, thanks, Rob, for the kind words and that awesome card. And then I got all these other influx of messages of like, wow, man, you're really shining, and you're really taking that win and the torch, and you're going with it. And that's what it's all about for me, man. You know what I mean? Because there's winning, and then what do you do with it? And so I didn't want to just win and then fall off. I wanted to actually have it mean something, and not just be like, oh yeah, Rob was 2022 winner. I want people to remember me every day. You know what I mean? So that's just, I guess, a long answer, but yeah, just to for people to know, like, yeah, he gets it. He's genuine, and he understands the bigger picture of things. So
yeah, that's a huge one, because it's like, you don't think about that kind of stuff making that big of a difference. You did it. What's funny is you enacted the attitude of gratitude and you did it for yourself. But like they say in the good book, they say in a lot of books, like when you do something, a lot of things come back tenfold. And you know, that right there, that story is huge, because that differentiates you from the sea of sameness. That takes you to the next level. That shows that you're a professional. All this whole interview that we talked about, just that story right there shows how much not only you care about your customers, but you care about right now making a dent in the industry that you're working in. And that's just huge. Like if there's something out there that one of the listeners listen to and says, you know what, I want to be that difference, I want to be that person, you've changed someone's life just by your interview. So man, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate
Awesome,
your
brother.
time.
No, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been awesome. I was a little bit scared.
Don't be nervous. So guys, like always, do me a favor, take a look at the show notes. There'll be a link for Rob to link with Rob, and I'm sure he's gonna launch some really cool trainings coming up on sales and marketing and overcoming objections and stuff like that, because he's going to be in front of an audience. And you know, don't get me wrong, like a sale is a sale is a sale. Like the process that you learn, that you apply, can take you to the next level. So it's just something simple. Like it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you listen to a training that Rob does and you apply it to your industry, applying it is what's really going to change everything. So make sure you listen to the full outro. And if you want to meet with Rob, go ahead and click in the show notes and it'll connect you right to his Facebook profile or his LinkedIn profile or the Perfectionist's website. And thank you guys for listening. And I will catch you on the next episode of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for your listenership and your continued support of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. This is Eric Sablon. And as a bonus to you, I wanted to give you guys a free strategy session with me. All you have to do is go to www.burntphonemarketing.com/book a call, and we will set up a strategy session to help you get unstuck. So that's www.burntphonemarketing.com/book a call.